First of all, I want to congratulate the Lakers. They played a hell of a series. It's a great team. I want to congratulate Darvin and his staff. I thought they coached a brilliant series. Darvin has done an amazing job this year. In his rookie year as a coach, he's pretty much seen it all. And you can see his poise and just his nature on the sidelines, how important that's been for their team, given everything that they've been through to get to this point. And so congrats to Darvin and the staff and their team. Of course, LeBron and AD are just brilliant players. They controlled the series. I thought we had our chances. To me, the series came down to games 1 and 4, and the Lakers outplayed us in the key stretches of those games. Down the stretch, and that's really the difference. But the better team won. So, congrats to them, and good luck to them moving forward. Just want to also say how proud I am of our guys. It's been a long and difficult season in many ways, but our guys hung in there. And to be here, to have a chance, in the conference semis, when for much of the season we were kind of adrift, it shows the character of our group and how they stuck together. And I want to really salute Wiggs for being there for our guys tonight. He's in a ton of pain, and he did everything possible to be available and did everything he could to make an impact. And it's been a difficult season for Wiggs in a lot of ways, but he's always there for us, and that's why we love him and need him. But our guys hung in there, and we had a shot, and we just couldn't quite do it, but the better team won. And as I said, couldn't be more proud of our group. Questions?
Steve, what are your emotions right now? I mean, it's been a long time since you've seen this team season ended. You've never seen it ended at this stage.
Yeah. Combination of being sad for our team, for our players. At the same time, very realistic. As I said, the better team won, and I can't fault our players for the effort, our staff, everybody doing everything possible to win. So there's no regrets. But it's, losing sucks. It just does. It's this is the highest, competition in the world, and our guys just thrive in competition. And we came up short today, so because these guys are such competitors, it's going to hurt. But that's why we play. It's to compete against the best and see what we got. And didn't quite have enough, but it wasn't for a lack of heart or effort.
As you kind of take the bigger picture view of the season, I know you even mentioned the adversity throughout. What do you think kind of just overall went wrong this year?
I think I'm more focused on what went right, to be honest with you. The way the season started, we were disjointed and, had that 0-5 road trip, and it felt like we were swimming upstream from the beginning. I think we found ourselves down the stretch and in the first round of the playoffs. And to be fair, I think this team probably, ultimately maxed out. I think, we were barely in the playoff picture for most of the year. So to make that push, to get there, to win an epic first-round series, and then, to give the Lakers, a fight in this series and have our chances. That puts us in among the top 8 teams in the league. That's probably where we should be. This is not a championship team. If we were, we'd be moving on. So you can look at the year in total and see all the ups and downs, and there was all kinds of stuff that went on and adversity that hit, but our group stayed together and competed till the end and made a pretty good run.
Steve, over here. Steph and Clay were, I think, 6 for 26 from 3 today, and obviously that was an issue a bit throughout the series. Is anything with the way the Lakers defended them and how, at the root of it, how difficult is it to win when the 2 of the greatest shooters ever struggle like they did?
Yeah, the Lakers have a great defense. I felt when we came in this building late in the regular season, after they had made their trades and sort of reshuffled their deck, I remember walking into the locker room saying that's a great defensive team, like not good but great, and so I give them credit. I thought starting Schroeder today on Steph, Schroeder put a lot of pressure on him. It made the passing angles a little tougher in pick and roll. And I just think Davis at the rim is he's obviously a huge obstacle and not only shot blocker but guy who takes up a lot of space and cuts down a lot of passing lanes, and so I thought the Lakers defense was great. With that said, I thought we had some open looks early. And to me, we were just in a little bit of a rush. I thought we were forcing the issue in the first quarter and missed a lot of open ones that maybe could have gotten us off to and gotten us into a better rhythm.
Steve, that was pretty. They made Steph work a lot. They had him, they isolated him a lot, trapped him a lot. How do you think he, I guess, handled that as the primary creator, and where do you think that ranks among how tough he was played or how much he had to work in the series since you coached?
Yeah, he obviously, this is 2 series in a row where he was playing about 40 minutes a night, the Lakers made him work. Obviously, that's every team's strategy, is to try to put him in pick and roll and try to wear him down, and I thought they did a good job of that. But playing every other day for the last few weeks, it's hard to sit here and claim that didn't affect Steph and Clay's jumpers in these last few games. So maybe a little bit of fatigue and some great defense from the Lakers, and we just couldn't quite find the rhythm.
Steve, I know that you're still in the wash of just the series, and you've been in it, and obviously we all turn our attention to what comes next. And you guys have, if it's not a championship team, this ownership group has historically been willing to sort of pay whatever it takes to field a championship team. Does what you guys did this year, does it make a convincing argument to keep this all together or to retool it in certain ways?
I think it's probably too raw right now for me to think about. The one thing I will say is that Draymond, Clay, Steph, our core guys, they've got plenty left to offer. There's still plenty in the tank there. I thought they all had great seasons and may not have ended on a high note, but all 3 guys are still high-level players, and I still feel like this team has championship potential. We didn't get there this year, but it's not like this is the end of the rope. But the organization has some decisions to make, and we'll eventually get to that point.
Steve, what was going on with Draymond's calf tonight, and how would you summarize what kind of season this was for him as a whole?
What was going on with Draymond?
Draymond's calf.
His cast?
Calf.
His calf. I was like, he had a cast on? He when he went to the locker room, Drew Yoder told me that his ankle and calf were bothering him, so he was getting worked on for much of the second half. So I haven't talked to Rick or Yodes since, but he did come back in the game. So I'm not quite sure how bad it is.
Hey, Steve, kind of along the lines of what you're talking about with looking ahead, what has working with Bob meant to you over the years? And I guess how would you gauge your optimistic level that you guys will continue to work together?
Yeah, Bob and I have been partners for 9 years now, and he's an integral part of everything that we do, and I rely on him for a ton. So I hope he's back. He's a great friend. He's a hell of a GM. He's responsible for a lot of what has happened here. So hopefully he's back, but he has to figure that out.
Steve, you mentioned before we were talking about not being a championship team and the trials that you guys went through this season, but when did you start to feel that? Was it just because of the loss tonight, or was it somewhere earlier in the season?
No, I think I think how many road games did we win? 11. So you go 11 and 30 on the road during the regular season. That's not what championship teams do. So it felt like all season we were desperately trying to recapture what we had last year, and we did a pretty damn good job of finding something here over the last month. I think we won our last 5 or 6 regular season games to come back from 2-0 against a hell of a Sacramento team, and to give this Laker team the fight that we did, be in this competition. We came close to recapturing what we had, but we didn't quite get there. So in my mind, we didn't feel like a championship team all year, but we had the guts and the fortitude to still believe, and we made a pretty good push. We just couldn't get there.
Yeah, it's going to be my follow-up question. Was this playoff push? You have been really saying we're a different team than we were the regular season. So I guess my question was just like, how did you guys see that and stuff?
Yeah, I think the reason it unfolded the way it did, and that we did come close to recapturing that, is we got Wiggs back and we got Gary back. And, last year we were second-ranked defense in the league. Most of this year we struggled defensively. When those two guys came back, it gave us a lift. It gave our point of attack defense a dramatic lift. And I think we've been one of the best defensive teams in the playoffs through 2 rounds. So in my mind, we found it because of the return of those 2 guys and getting healthy and everybody really staying connected and competing.
Steve, you've been through a lot of championship runs as a player and a coach. Where does this season rank as far as how exhausting it has been? That seems like the word that nobody's saying, but that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, I left my guys in the locker room just now and to come down here, and you could see, the looks in their eyes, just the combination of fatigue and disappointment, and I think at the same time just a level of we really gave it a push. Like I don't think Draymond's going to come in here and have any regrets about the way this season ended. I think he'll probably agree with me that the better team won, but I love my guys, the way they compete, the way they stayed with it. They're champions for a reason, and you don't get to win it every year, but our guys sure think they're going to. And so again, love those guys, proud of them, and we just couldn't quite get it done. Thanks, everybody.
Draymond, Steve just said when he was looking around the locker room to come in here, he could just feel and see the fatigue and disappointment on your guys' face. Those are the 2 words he used. Would you agree that those are the overwhelming feelings right now, I guess?
Definitely disappointed. And I think, just don't know how to feel. It's been a long time since we finished in May. So just trying to process the feelings and move forward. But anytime you don't win a championship, it's a disappointment. For us, a franchise who prides ourselves on trying to hang banners, But at the end of the day, they were the better team this series, and you got to give them their credit. They did the things that it took to win the series. So tip your hat to them, but it's definitely disappointing to finish, be done now.
This wasn't just like kind of an abrupt, stunning playoff defeat. You guys obviously had a pretty bumpy season the whole way. When you look back, bigger picture at the season, just where did it kind of get off the tracks? Do you think?
I think there were several things that went wrong throughout the course of the season, and also just things that you can't prepare for. Like it's hard to prepare for the things that happened in the beginning of the season and then bounce back from that. But we did. It's hard to prepare for all the injuries that we dealt with throughout the season, for, missing Wiggs, for the time that we missed Wiggs, and, all the things that's going on. And saying that, there's no excuses. Shit happens throughout every season. And, if you win the championship, it's a battle cry, and it's like, yeah, man, we went through that. We went through this, and we got through it. If you lose, you don't go back and blame all of those things and say, oh, man, this is the reason we lost. No, every season is made up of events. Some are great, some are not. I think for this team, more of the events that aren't so great were so public. And, that's not something that you normally deal with. And so the world knows, the tough times that this team's had. But there's tough times in every season. Winning a championship, there are tough times. I remember David West said something some years back, and everybody was like, whoa, like, that's every year. Like, it's things going on, and you band together and you try to work around them. And I think, for the most part, we tried to do that. We fell short, and, that happens. But overall, we're not done yet. It was lost this year. We'll be back next year.
On that point, Draymond, to hear you say, we're not done yet, Steve explained that you and Steph and Clay have a lot of years left together, if you want those. Do you feel the clock ticking a little bit?
I think the clock is ticking on all of our lives. Like everyone in here, we all have an expiration date. And so I think the clock is ticking on all of us. As far as basketball goes, 100% is ticking. And that's on every man in this league, every woman that works. That's everybody. And so, yeah, the clock is ticking. I think, when you have so much success, then people start, they really put you on that clock, like they put you up against the clock. When you have a ton of success. When you don't have a ton of success, no one cares. No one cares how old you are, how young you are. It doesn't matter when you're not having success. But when you are, every little thing matters. And so the clock is on us just because we've been successful for so long. That's cool. I think that's the position that you want to be in. But for us, we don't pay attention to the clock. We just work and try to win each and every year, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Draymond, first part of this, what was going on with your calf tonight? And although you said you're still processing everything, what are going to be, some of your primary focuses this offseason?
My number one primary focus is my family. That is always the most important thing to me. As far as my calf, I don't know if it was a cramp or if I pulled it a little bit, but when I went back to the back, it loosened up, so I figured it was just a cramp. And I would have went back in the game. Bob stopped me, said we're down 22 points with 5.5, 6 minutes to go. You go back out there and you tear your calf, and then you're rehabbing the rest of the summer, trying to chase a 22-point lead. It's not smart, and we're not doing it. So I could have went back in the game, and I think that's a good sign. And other priorities. I have a media business I'm trying to build. I'll continue to try to build. And then, we'll see what happens as far as my contract goes. Obviously, I have an opt-out. Everybody know about that. I know about that. I'm aware of that. But as I've told you guys, for years. I want to be a Warrior for the rest of my life. I want to ride out with the same dudes I rode in with. And, I think we've put the work in to make that happen. Here we are with our worst season as a whole since 2014. And yet, we had a chance to make another run. So it's never as bad as it seems. It's never as good as it seems. But, those are some of my priorities. Travel a little bit, refill the cup, possibly play FIBA. We'll see. And work my ass off and be better next year. It's my priorities.
Draymond, for as far as like this series and this not being a championship team on the floor, what were the missing ingredients? Why were you guys not able to get it done?
Well, I think I wish I had that answer for you. Why we weren't able to get it done. I think at the end of the day, you do what you can, you give your best, and if you come up short, which is kind of rare for us, then you just come up short and you figure out why and you go back to the drawing board and you work and you do what you have to do to make sure that next year it's a different outcome. As far as our roster as a whole, I think we had a lot of good pieces. And, I think everyone in the world will always say our roster can be better. Everybody. As a team, you're always looking to make that better. However, that's not my focus. That's not my job. My job is, the guys that's on this roster to go out there and try to win a championship. We came up a little short this year, but I said, not done. We'll be back to try to do it again.
Hey, Draymond over here. Steph and Clay were 6 for 26 from 3 today, and obviously shot below their standards for most of this series. Steve was talking about the Lakers' defense and maybe a little fatigue. How surprised are you when they miss shots they've made so often over the years, and what do you think caused that more than anything else?
You got to get our defense credit. The way they were swarming all series. We always talk about that. If you can swarm a guy all series or all night, once they get an open look, it doesn't feel so open because you've just been swarmed and now you're rushed. And I think for Clay in particular, a lot of his shots he rushed. But when you're so surprised when you get an open look because they're just draped over him. They're not helping. They're not leaving his body. And so I felt like then once he would get an open one, he would rush it. And yet Klay Thompson probably has one of the quickest triggers that we've all seen in league history. So is it actually rushed or is it actually not? I don't know. I'd be sitting there like, Klay, maybe you rushed that one a little bit. But then he come off and hit 5 straight where he doesn't even bring the ball down, and that may look like a rush shot, but that's what he's trying to get to. And so at the end of the day, they missed some shots. They're human. They got great looks, and if they can get the looks that they got, I'll live with that. And if that means our season will end early every year, great. But I don't think that's the case. It hasn't been the case. It won't be the case. But every night is not your night. Every series is not your series. You got to give those guys credit for their defense. Darvin Ham did a great job of implementing a great game plan. They did a good job of executing that game plan. But I thought they had some good looks, and they normally make those looks. They just didn't go in tonight.
Two more on the weekend and then Draymond, we've witnessed so much magic from this team over the years, and Steve said that this year it just sort of felt like this was the maxed out version of this group, that this wasn't a championship group after everything in the regular season and then what you all displayed here. I wonder if you agree with that assessment, with that gut feeling, and then if that is the case with the same core kind of trying to do it again, how do you get back to that?
I think this group definitely maxed out what we could do. It wasn't a championship team. We didn't win it. So, sucks. But that's our reality. That doesn't mean our core changes. That doesn't mean our core can't do it again. They said we couldn't do it again last year. We did it. They said we missed the playoffs this year. We did it, but guess what? We don't do moral victory, so we lost. And this was not a championship group as it stands. But we have champions, and we're made up of champions. And when you are a champion, when you have that mindset, you just go back to the drawing board, retool, refigure it out, and go do it again. And that's what'll be our focus. But it wasn't a championship group. As we can see, we're sitting here and the season's over. So we'll figure it out. This group was maxed. We got what we could get out of it. But this thing isn't maxed. And so we'll get more out of that.
Draymond, what do you think about, through all the adversity that this team went through this season, what did you learn about yourself and this team?
I learned a ton about myself. Number one, just a reminder how you stand in the face of adversity. I think for me, every time we hit some adversity in life, you either fold or you rise up to it. And I once again reminded myself that I'm capable of rising up to whatever that challenge is. You never know until you go through it. And so for me, myself, I learned some patience. Just how to operate when things aren't quite on your terms and how to navigate those things and, pick and choose your spots. Like I think, this year has helped me as a person as much as it has as a basketball player. So I am not one that, just when things are going well, you're great and everything's fine and you're the man. When things aren't so great, that's when you make yourself. And I feel like for me, that's always my focus is, when your back's against the wall, everybody's against you, things are going wrong, how are you going to stand up to that? Are you still going to stand on those same principles you've been standing on? Is you going to still stand on the same business you've been standing on? And for me, I can honestly say I did that. It didn't end the way I wanted it to end and how I would have loved it to end, but I can go home and sleep at night knowing I stand on the same 2 feet, the same business, the same principles, and everything else that I've stood on for the last 11 years. And I can live with that. And, you continue to try to get better as a person, as a basketball player. That's my goal. That's who I am. That's what I've done. I'll continue to do that.
Great. Thank you. Looks like Steph and Clay are both. Karen back here back.
Hey, Clay. Steve Kerr said that he still believes this team has championship potential. Draymond Green said he wants to return and wants to ride out with the same guys he rode in with. How much do you still believe in the core of this team having the potential to go all the way?
I fully believe that, and it stings real bad. It's going to sting all summer. But, first time in a long time that Dre, Steph, and I were healthy and not making the finals. So it's rare to be off during this time of year, but I can tell you we gave it everything we had, and it just stings. But, I believe that we have greatness in our future still.
Clay, coming into this series, you said, facing the Lakers, this is where your hoop dream started, lots of time here in LA. What did you think about your road games here?
Well, it was awesome playing in front of my dad and calling the game. I obviously wish I would have shot the ball much more efficiently. Probably had the worst shooting series I had in a long time. At the end of the day, though, I'm still on contract with the Dubs, and I'm going to use it for fuel to be better come next postseason. And it just sucks, when you give it your all and sometimes doesn't go the way you want. It's the hardest part of being a pro athlete.
Ron over here, left-hand side.
Clay, you mentioned your shooting, and Steph didn't shoot up to his standards certainly in the last couple of games. How much did their size bother you guys, do you think? Not just the two of you, but overall, do you guys need to get bigger as you look forward?
I'm not sure. It's hard for me to assess that right now. I mean, they played very well. Anthony Davis is a monster down there, and obviously LeBron still got it. So it was just a tough series for us, and like I said before, unfamiliar territory being off this time of year, but I know we still got greatness ahead of us, and we just got to use this offseason to get right mentally, physically, and just improve on our weaknesses.
This wasn't just like, an abrupt playoff ending. You guys kind of had a bumpy season all the way to this point. How much did all the challenges that came dating back to preseason all the way through add to, I guess, the challenge of the whole season?
I mean, well, it definitely wasn't smooth sailing, and even for myself, I had a tough start to the year. Couldn't buy a bucket. Kind of ended the year on the same note. Pretty ironic, but I'm going to continue to work hard, and we did have a rocky season. I mean, it wasn't what we're accustomed to as far as, 67 wins, 73, mid-50s. Played for the 6th seed. We still gave ourselves a fighting chance. But I want to go to battle with any other guy. So I'm proud of everybody on this team. I'm real proud of Andrew Wiggins. I mean, he played with pretty much a broken rib tonight, show what he's about. And we would not, be here without him. So just a tough one, man.
And Clay, obviously these games are really important for you. Did you feel like here in LA, did you feel like you were pressing at all just in this building being here, or was it just shots weren't falling?
I don't think I was pressing. I just think shots didn't fall. Even tonight, I got so many great looks. That's why it hurts, especially early. Got a lot of wide open looks. I don't know if that's fatigue, mental fatigue when I was shooting it short, but it's not the end of the road for me. I still know I have, greatness ahead of me. This is the first full season in 3 years I've had to make it through, start to finish healthy. So that's a positive, and I know I'm going to come back even better next year.
Hi, Clay. This wasn't a sweep. You guys won 2 games, and even you dominated some games. Can you explain the fluctuating scores?
I can't. I mean, it's just hoops. Teams make adjustments. Certain guys step up. And we just didn't have it tonight.
Clay, obviously, fall short. How do you get better, just generally as a team, to get back to where you've been? And how much are you looking for these young players? Do they have to kind of fill larger roles next season?
Well, you come to camp next year in the best shape you possibly can. You come with a fresh mind and the goal of winning a championship. And then as far as our young guys, it's a huge summer for them, just like it is our vets. Maintaining our physical health for them, it's just about improving their game. I mean, that's for all young players in the NBA. It's about adding something every offseason. So we're going to be dependent on them, and that's just the natural progression of team basketball. Is just strength in numbers. Certain guys got to step up.
Nice. Well, thanks, Clay. Appreciate that. We're done in here.
This is definitely the first time you've gone out this early. Just what the emotion was in that locker room, moments after this, just seeing the end of the season.
I mean, you're disappointed and kind of shell-shocked that it's over. You pour so much into, every season, but coming off of last year, trying to defend and give ourselves a chance to keep advancing. It's a tough way for the season to end. Like you said, it's unfamiliar territory, but, proud of the fight that we had. And, the Lakers played amazing all series, played to their strengths, and obviously that led to them getting out of the series and moving on. So got to give them credit. They played great basketball, and for us, just an opportunity to kind of take stock of where we're at, keep the confidence that we can, come back and be back at this stage next year. So we're kind of in between disappointment, but still, maintaining some pride about how we played this year.
Steve said that he thought you guys were maxed out, and Draymond said he thought that you were maxed out. Did you feel that way? And if so, when did you maybe feel that? Did you feel that during this, did you have a feeling that this wasn't a championship team during the season?
I mean, we lost, so it's like a hard truth at the end of the journey. It's not anything you allow yourself to. No competitor believes that until you're proven that you're not a championship team. That's what getting beaten in a playoff series means. Basketball is over for this year, so felt it in the fourth quarter with about 7 minutes left. Just really never heard that from us before in terms of trying to make sense of losing a series like we did, unless it's been in a final. So got to accept it, move on, and try to be better next year.
Yeah, I know it's still fresh, but how do you view bigger picture, the future, the decisions that need to be made this summer, and some of the Draymond, Bob, and some of the situations that need to be resolved?
We'll all collectively kind of handle those in the right time. I think obviously start at the top and working down in terms of trying to put together the best team possible next year, making sure all the pieces fit and understanding how we can retool to put ourselves in position to be a legit championship contender, because for us that's all we're worried about, and that includes Bob, that includes DG, other decisions that we got to make, but at the end of the day that'll settle itself over the course of the next couple of months.
Steph, I know it didn't end the way that you wanted it to, but coming into this series, I think Draymond said something to the effect of, well, they have a GOAT, referring to LeBron James, and so do we, referring to you. And a lot of us weren't sure if we'd get to see this battle between you and LeBron again, going through it again, playing in these games again, the moment you all shared on the court. Can you just reflect on that, on this stage, on what this rivalry has sort of meant to basketball over the last couple of years?
I mean, it's just a battle every time, and I know there are a lot of different narratives within each of the series that we've had, and different teams and teammates and all the above. But it's just great basketball, great competition, understanding who LeBron is and who he's been his entire career, and the accolades and the championships he's won and the records that he has. Like, he's an amazing basketball player, and he brings the best out of you, and you have to be your best if you're going to try to beat him. And I think he feels vice versa. And so you love those experiences. Somebody's got to win, and it's part of the nature of what we're dealing with. But there's so much respect and, again, appreciation for the battles and the experiences and the back and forth, because it's basketball at the highest level, and that's all you can ask for.
Ron, left hand side.
Steph, there's obviously been a lot of conversation over the years about you guys as an outside shooting, jump shooting team, and you and Clay have established yourself as two of the best, obviously, in history. The last few games weren't at your level, at your standards. How much of that was their defense? How do you sort of view the way the last few days went in terms of three-point shooting for you guys?
It obviously wasn't great, but again, there's a lot of confidence in the ability to continue to shoot at a high level, and you might tweak some things. I understand some learning lessons, especially like how Game 4 went, where shots that we wanted to take and make didn't go in, and whatever, you kind of live with that. But as you move forward, you make the necessary adjustments while maintaining the confidence that you can shoot the ball at an extremely high level. I think for us in this series, like, it was a battle of strengths, right? Like, they're an extremely big team, 80 in the paint. Bron flying around all over the place. They were trying to take away certain things, and it worked. We didn't have a change-up pitch to throw, in this series, which kind of what led to, the result. So it doesn't mean you stop shooting. It just means you figure out a different way to be impactful and, come back with the same mindset.
Just a quick follow-up. How much did their size bother you shooting, do you think, throughout it?
Their game plan was obviously to press up on the three-point line, funnel us in there, 80 in the back, clogging everything up. Like I said, we just didn't have enough variety in the way we were trying to score after game 2. So good learning lessons for us. When you understand a team that has a guy like him in the paint, we got to figure out different things, and we just didn't do it.
3 more, Dalton, Tim, and then Ray.
Steve said that it felt like you guys were swimming upstream from the very start of the season. In your eyes, what were the factors that kept obstacles on the road to trying to repeat this season?
You could probably fill in the blank there. From training camp to now, it's just the reality we were living in and trying to keep things positive and optimistic around what we're trying to accomplish this year. And look, we're one of the last 8 teams. It's not a moral victory at all. It's just understanding that, in Game 6 of the conference semifinals, you had a chance to push it to the end. So, again, there's a lot of pride in, there's a lot of pride in what we accomplished, but there's also an understanding that this is not good enough, and we have to be, a lot better next year and start, re-establishing ourselves as a legit championship contender, because we weren't this year.
Steph, when you think about getting better, becoming a championship level team, how much responsibility or onus do you put on the young players? You kind of went into the season with a bunch of them. Obviously, Wiseman got traded, and Moses is the only one. Well, Jordan's playing minutes in the end. How much do you expect from them next season, and how much is there? And was it disappointing not to see them get more time or produce more in these playoffs?
There's a lot in there. I think, everybody's going to get better. Everybody's going to take the next steps. Everybody's going to learn the lessons that you learned this year and try to put them into use next year. I don't know what the opportunity is going to be. I don't know what the roster will look like. I don't know, sitting here right now, what, opening night's going to look like in terms of who's going to be asked to do what. But I have a lot of confidence in everybody being able to take advantage of the summer. Add to your skill set, add to your mental preparation for the year, and the list of guys that kind of fall in that bucket, be ready to take those next steps, because that's the journey of your career that you're always on. So it's just hard to say specifics right now about what it'll look like, because this league is crazy and things can change really quickly.
Last one, Rachel.
Steph, Draymond was just expressing the confidence he has in you, him, and Clay as a core and what you guys can do in the future. What is it for you knowing those two guys, and if you do stay together through the next couple of years, what does that make you feel like you could do?
No matter how different it looks, I think we understand each other, what we all bring to the table, the trust that, we're just going to compete until the wheels fall off. And, that is something that should not be taken for granted in this league, because we've proven that we can do it. And even in this series and this year, like, things were looking bleak at one point in the regular season, and you find yourself in the second round trying to just scratch and claw your way out of it. So we're going to fight and we're going to compete, and we believe in each other. And that goes up and down the roster, and hopefully there's belief in us to be able to lead that. So I feel like that's a two-way street, and that's the progression of the stage that we are in our careers, to keep doubling down on it. So I think we're excited about that opportunity, as terrible of a feeling it is as it is right now. I feel like we can come back.
Great, thank you. We'll have Clay in here. He's out in the hall.